right, so today we're diving into something pretty important if you ever plan on working in Nigeria,
Right, yeah.
the pension system.
Okay, cool.
We've got some really great info from OGK Pensions.
Yeah.
They're a major player in Nigeria's pension system. And we're going to uncover how this whole thing works.
Yeah.
Its history, the impact it has, not just on your retirement, but on Nigeria's economy as a whole.
It's interesting. When you think about pensions, we think of it as a modern concept, but Nigeria's actually had some form of pension arrangements going all the way back to the 1950s for civil servants.
Wow, back to the 50s.
Yeah.
I had no idea it went that far back.
Yeah.
So walk me through how it's changed.
Okay.
What were some of the big moments that led to the system we see today?
Well, the big turning point was the Pension Reform Act of 2004.
Okay.
It was a total reset, basically, creating a whole new foundation for a more modern and robust system.
So 2004, big year.
Big year.
What exactly changed with this Pension Reform Act?
Well, this act essentially created the two main pension schemes you'll find in Nigeria today.
Okay.
The Contributory Pension Scheme, or CPS,
Mm.
and the Defined Benefit Scheme, which is also known as DBS.
So two different paths you can take towards retirement.
Exactly, like two different roads.
Two roads.
Okay.
Right. What makes these roads different, though?
Okay.
Can you break that down?
So imagine the CPS, like a three-way partnership
Okay.
between you, your employer, and a pension fund administrator, a PFA.
PFA.
And so both you and your employer contribute regularly to this, and the PFA manages those contributions, investing them to try and grow your retirement savings.
Okay, so with the CPS, you're all kind of working together.
Yeah,
You, your employer, the PFA, to build a financial future.
exactly.
What about the DBS? Who's that for and how's that work?
The DBS is mainly for public sector employees,
Okay.
and it guarantees you a specific pension benefit based on your salary history and how long you worked there, your years of service.
So you kind of already know what you're going to get.
Exactly. It's more predefined and predictable
Yeah.
compared to the CPS, which is more investment focused.
Makes sense. So it's kind of like a guaranteed pension check based on your work history.
Exactly.
Sounds pretty nice, especially for people who just want to know what they're getting.
Yeah.
But who's keeping track of all of this?
Right.
We mentioned PFAs,
Yeah.
and I know our source for this deep dive, OA Pensions.
Yeah.
They're one of them, right?
They are. OK Pensions is a PFA.
Okay.
And just like other PFAs, their job is to manage and invest those pension contributions under the CPS.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not just out there doing whatever they want. There's a regulatory body called the National Pension Commission, or PenCom.
Okay.
They make sure everything is running smoothly and above board.
So PenCom is kind of like the referee,
Exactly.
making sure it's all fair and transparent.
Yeah.
So everybody feels good about their savings.
Yes.
Now, let's say someone's career takes them to different companies. They switch jobs. What happens to their pension if they've been contributing?
That's where portability comes in.
Okay.
And it's a key feature of the Nigerian system.
Mm.
You can actually move your pension funds between different PFAs if you change employers.
Oh, well, so you're not stuck
Exactly.
just because you switch jobs.
No, you have options, you have flexibility.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gives people real choices.
Yeah,
But let's be real. No system's perfect.
true.
What are some of the challenges the Nigerian pension system is up against?
Well, one of the biggest ones is coverage.
Okay.
There are still a lot of people, especially those in the informal sector,
Okay.
who aren't part of the system at all.
I see.
And then, of course, like any financial system, there's always the risk of fraud.
Yeah, of course.
So those are things to be aware of.
Definitely serious concerns. It sounds like you really need to stay vigilant,
Yeah.
and you need to keep improving things to make sure the system stays secure and effective.
Absolutely. You got it.
So what steps are they taking to address these issues?
Well, the good news is there are reforms happening right now.
Okay.
And one big one is extending coverage to the informal sector.
Okay.
And you're doing this through these things called micro pension schemes,
Right.
which is huge. It's a big step towards financial inclusion for everyone.
Yeah.
And OK Pensions specifically, they're very committed to this. They're working really hard to make things more transparent and to fight fraud within the system.
That's really good to hear. So they're trying to make things better.
Exactly. Yep.
But let's zoom out for a minute.
OK.
Beyond just what it does for individuals, how does this whole pension system affect Nigeria on a larger scale?
Well, think of all those pension funds as this huge pool of money, right?
Right.
And that money doesn't just sit there. It gets invested in different parts of the Nigerian economy.
Okay, so where does it go?
We're talking infrastructure, real estate, government securities, all things that help the economy grow.
So it's not just about saving for retirement.
Nope.
It's about helping build up the country.
Exactly. And a stable retirement income, it doesn't just help individuals.
Right.
It helps fight poverty and raise the standard of living for everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When people feel secure financially, they're more likely to participate in the economy.
Sure.
And that just leads to more growth. So it's win-win.
I love that. It all works together. A strong pension system for strong individuals and a strong country.
That's the idea.
Now, we talked about those mandatory contributions, but is there a way to contribute even more than that?
Yes, absolutely. The system actually encourages voluntary contributions.
Okay.
So you can put in extra money on top of what you're already required to contribute.
So you're in control. You can do more to build up your retirement savings.
Exactly. It's about taking charge.
Now, we touched on the informal sector briefly,
Yeah.
but I'd love to learn more about how the pension system is reaching out to people who are self-employed or working in smaller businesses.
That's a really important area because, the informal sector is a big part of the Nigerian workforce.
Right.
Micro-pension schemes are specifically designed to help with this.
Okay.
They let self-employed people and small business owners participate,
Okay.
and they can contribute smaller amounts more often,
Oh, that makes sense.
which makes it easier to manage since their income might not be as regular.
Right, so it's more
It's
flexible.
more accessible.
But with all this money involved, how does the system guarantee accountability?
Okay,
Transparency.
right.
How can people be sure their money's being handled responsibly?
Well, transparency and accountability are super important, especially when you're talking about people's hard-earned money.
Of course, it's their future.
Exactly. PFAs, like OA pensions, have to follow strict guidelines and standards set by PenCom. It's a system of checks and balances to make sure everyone's interests are protected.
Okay, so it's not just about collecting the money.
No.
It's about managing it ethically and responsibly for everyone who's contributing.
Exactly. It's about building trust and making sure the whole system is sustainable in the long run.
Okay, I think that's a great place to pause.
All right.
We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into the Nigerian pension system after a quick break. And we're back.
All right. I'm ready to learn more about this whole investment side of the Nigerian pension system.
Okay.
You touched on it before the break, but how does it actually work?
This is where things get really interesting because it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
Right.
These investments actually have a real impact on Nigeria's development.
Okay, so how does that work? Where do the funds actually go?
Imagine your commute to work is smoother because of newly built highways.
Okay.
Or maybe there are fewer power outages because your pension fund helped finance a brand new power plant.
Wow.
That's the kind of impact your contributions can have. Infrastructure is a big focus. Things like roads, bridges, power grids.
All those essential things. Exactly. The building blocks of a modern economy. These investments create jobs in the short term and boost productivity in the long run.
So it's like setting the stage for a better Nigeria in the future,
Precisely.
laying the groundwork.
And along with infrastructure, pension funds also flow into real estate,
Okay.
which is another major driver of economic growth.
So what kind of real estate are we talking?
It could be anything, really. Residential, commercial, industrial properties. It all contributes to job creation, urban development, and expanding the economy.
Wow. So it's not just roads and power plants.
No, it's the very spaces where people live and work and create new things.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But if they're investing so much in things like infrastructure, real estate, doesn't that limit the growth potential of my own pension fund?
That's a good question, and it really highlights that balance that PFAs have to strike. Of course, maximizing returns is important, but so is making sure those investments are responsible and sustainable. We have to remember, these pension funds are meant to provide long-term security, so investing in assets that are stable, generate consistent returns, and contribute to the overall well-being of the economy. That's key.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, balancing my own personal gains with the long-term health of the system and the country as a whole.
Right, exactly. It's a bigger picture.
Are there other areas where pension funds are being invested that are making a difference?
Absolutely. There's a growing trend towards investing in things like renewable energy, technology, agriculture, all areas that hold huge potential for sustainable development and making sure the Nigerian economy is future-proof.
So not just investing in what works now, but betting on the future.
Right, exactly.
I like that, being forward thinking.
And let's not forget about government securities.
Oh, right.
Investing in those helps fund those important government initiatives and projects that benefit everyone in society.
Such as?
We're talking education, healthcare, social welfare programs, things that improve the quality of life for all Nigerians.
It's like we're all indirectly contributing to these essential services through our pensions.
Precisely. It really highlights that interconnectedness.
Yeah, really fascinating. So these investments, they have a much bigger impact than I initially realized.
Absolutely. They create this ripple effect that goes far beyond just the financial returns. We're talking about generating jobs, stimulating economic activity, and ultimately making life better for people across the entire country.
Now, we talked about voluntary contributions earlier. It's not just about what's required. It's about what we can choose to contribute to build a stronger financial future for ourselves.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your own retirement planning. Even small additional contributions can make a big difference over time.
Right, because of compounding.
Exactly, that snowball effect. The earlier you start, the bigger that snowball can get.
But for a lot of people, just understanding the basics of the pension system can be confusing,
Right.
let alone figuring out how much they should be contributing voluntarily.
Absolutely, and that's why financial literacy is so important. Organizations like OA Kinkenese, they play a crucial role here.
How so?
They provide educational resources and guidance to help people make informed decisions about their pension savings. They take complex topics and break them down into easy-to-understand language.
So it's like giving people the tools they need to plan for their retirement.
Exactly. The more informed people are, the more confident they'll be in making decisions that align with their long-term financial goals.
We've talked a lot about the individual benefits and the impact on the economy, but what about the social implications? How does a strong pension system contribute to a healthier and happier society?
Imagine a society where retirees, people who've worked hard their whole lives, can enjoy their later years with dignity and financial security, free from worry.
So they're not a burden on their families, they're not struggling to make ends meet.
Exactly. And that sense of security has a ripple effect. When retirees are financially stable, they're less likely to need financial support from their families. So it reduces that burden on younger generations. They can also still participate in the economy, supporting local businesses.
So it creates a virtuous cycle.
Exactly. The pension system strengthens individuals and the entire social fabric of the nation.
We can't ignore the fact that there are still challenges, though. We talked about low coverage, particularly in the informal sector, and the potential for fraud. What's being done to address these issues and make the system even stronger?
Expanding coverage to the informal sector is a major priority, and micro-pension schemes are a key part of that. It makes it easier for self-employed people and those in less traditional jobs to participate.
Right, recognizing that the workforce is changing.
Exactly, and adapting the system to be more inclusive and relevant to the way people work today. It's about making sure everyone has a chance to secure their financial future, no matter what kind of job they have. And along with expanding coverage, there's also a constant effort to strengthen security measures, combat fraud.
Like how?
Well, they're leveraging technology, improving data protection, enhancing monitoring systems to detect and prevent any suspicious activity.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach.
Right. Adapting to new realities, strengthening security, constantly working to build trust and confidence in the system. But managing a system as big and complex as this can't be easy. What are some of the things that make it work well?
Well, I think it all starts with having a strong regulatory framework. PenCom plays a huge role in setting the standards, making sure everyone follows the rules, and ensuring everything operates transparently and efficiently.
It's like a captain steering the ship, making sure it stays on course. But it's not just about PenCom dictating from the top. Collaboration is essential, working closely with PFAs like OAK pensions to implement policies effectively and ensure the needs of contributors are being met.
It's a partnership.
Exactly, a shared responsibility to make the system work for everyone involved. But even with the best regulations and the strongest partnerships, sometimes things can still go wrong. So how does the system ensure accountability and provide recourse if that happens?
Well, that's where those grievance and dispute resolution mechanisms come in.
Right.
There are procedures in place for people to raise concerns if they think something's not right.
Exactly. Think of it like a safety valve to make sure everything's running smoothly.
But how can people be confident those mechanisms are actually effective?
Transparency is key. Information about these procedures needs to be easily accessible to everyone.
Right, so people know their options.
And there needs to be clear communication about how those complaints are handled and investigated and resolved.
So it's about being open and fair and making sure people feel heard.
Exactly. But even beyond those individual issues, how does the system itself learn and improve over time? How does it adapt to new situations and make sure it's sustainable in the long run?
Well, you need to constantly monitor and evaluate how the system's doing, identify areas where you can do better, and then make adjustments. It's like this continuous feedback loop. Gather information, analyze performance, and make course corrections to keep the system running smoothly.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, anticipating challenges, always looking for ways to improve and make the system better. The world's always changing, and the pension system needs to keep up.
So it's a dynamic process.
Absolutely. It's always adapting and evolving to meet those challenges and opportunities.
This has been incredibly helpful in understanding how complex and important the Nigerian pension system really is.
It's a testament to the power of working together.
Individuals, employers, the government, all coming together to create a system that provides financial security for the people and promotes economic growth.
Leading to a more prosperous and equitable society.
And with that, let's take a quick moment to reflect before we wrap up our deep dive into the Nigerian pension system. We'll be back in a flash to talk about what the future might hold. All right, we're back and ready to wrap things up. But before we do, I want to look ahead.
Okay.
What does the future hold for the Nigerian pension system?
That's a great question. And you have to remember that things are always changing. So the Nigerian pension system is going to face a lot of unique trends and challenges in the coming years.
What kind of trends?
Well, one of the biggest is the way work is changing.
Yeah, true.
We've got the gig economy, remote work, freelancing. All these things are disrupting the traditional 9 to 5.
Yeah, it's definitely not your parents' workplace anymore.
Exactly. And that's a challenge for the pension system. It was designed with a more, traditional workforce in mind.
Right, so how do they adapt to that, to this new world where work is more flexible, more fluid?
Well, they need innovative solutions to make sure that everyone, no matter how they work, can access the pension system and benefit from it.
I see.
It's about being inclusive, recognizing that the workforce is changing.
So how do you even begin to design a system like that?
It's not easy.
Right.
But one idea is to look at these portable benefits models where people can basically carry their pension contributions with them from job to job,
Oh, interesting.
no matter how they're employed. Another option is to have more flexible contribution schemes that fit with the income patterns of gig workers and freelancers.
Right, so it's got to be more adaptable.
Exactly, more responsive to the needs of today's workers.
Okay, what else?
Well, besides all that, there's still the challenge of financial literacy.
Right, of course.
As the system gets more complex, it's more important than ever to make sure people understand it and can make informed decisions about their savings.
Because a well-designed system doesn't matter much if people don't know how to use it.
Exactly. Financial education is key.
Yeah.
People need to understand their options, plan for their retirement,
Right.
and make choices that help them reach their goals.
So it's not just about reforming the system, it's about educating the people who use it.
Precisely.
Now, on a more positive note, what about the opportunities?
Right.
Anything exciting on the horizon?
Well, technology has the potential to really revolutionize the pension system.
Oh, in what way?
Imagine managing your pension contributions from your phone,
Okay.
checking your investment performance, getting personalized financial advice, all through a user-friendly app.
That would be pretty amazing.
And besides convenience, technology can also make the system more secure and transparent.
How so?
Blockchain, for instance, can be used to keep track of transactions in a tamper-proof way, reducing the risk of fraud and mismanagement.
Oh, wow. It sounds like the pension system's on the verge of a big change.
It is, and it's not just about using new technologies.
Yeah.
It's about using them to create a better system for everyone.
A system that's inclusive, efficient, and easy to use.
Exactly.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about how the Nigerian pension system works, its history, the impact it has, the challenges it faces, the reforms, and what the future might hold.
It really is a fascinating system, and at its core, it's about empowering individuals, building a strong economy, creating a more secure and prosperous future for all Nigerians.
And with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us on this deep dive into the Nigerian pension system. We encourage you to check out the links in the show notes for more information and to consider OAK Pensions as a partner for your retirement planning needs in Nigeria. Until next time, keep exploring.